lot of people say electric vehicles can't tow. If you try and tow with any electric car, it's just going to kill your battery. You're not going to get anywhere. You're going to get like a few miles down the road. Your car's just going to stop. That sounds insane, but some people actually really believe. I know it sounds ridiculous, but some people really believe that. The Cybertruck has been tested by a couple of guys. One of them was the owner. Another one was the owner of a Ford F350. So the F350 is the biggest Ford truck you can buy. I know there's some bigger ones that are like bizarre and obscure, but the F350 really, according to most of the population, is the biggest truck you can buy. It's very big. There's very few of them here in Australia. There's a few getting around, but very, very few because they're so big. And they are made to tow enormous loads. In fact, some of them are made to tow around about 30,000 pounds. So, about 14,000 kilograms. They're called a pickup truck technically, but they're probably close in functionality to a real truck. Anyway, here's what the owner of an F350 had to say about when he test drove a Tesla Cybertruck and towed with the Cybertruck. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Cybertruck is rated to tow quite a lot. In fact, it's rated to tow 11,000 pounds, which is over 5,000 kilograms. Crazy. I mean, realistically, are you ever going to need to tow that much? Well, probably not. In fact, almost certainly not. But there will be a few people here and there that will. If you're trying to tow 11,000 pounds with any vehicle, you're going to use a lot of battery power. You're going to use a lot of gasoline, a lot of diesel, whatever your fuel type is. It doesn't matter what you say. So this kind of concept that only electric trucks or only electric vehicles are going to use a lot of power when they tow is obviously completely false. I've towed some pretty heavy loads in my ute, my pickup truck, and it uses a lot of fuel. You really feel it. In fact, you really feel this pull on the car. And I feel like when I get the trailer off, I get the load off, I'm like, whoa, the car feels so light. This feels amazing to drive again. However, with a Cybertruck, here's the thing. The person who actually test drove the Cybertruck, not the owner, the guy who has an F350, he said he felt like with the Cybertruck, he didn't even know he was towing. Now, to be fair, he was towing 3,000 pounds. It's about just under 1,500 kilos. Not a huge amount. But for me, when I've towed that amount, say in a Ford Ranger, you definitely feel it. When you take off up a hill, or you're trying to get up, overtake on a freeway or something like that, you feel the car is much, much slower. It definitely has an impact, even just 1,500 kilos or just over 3,000 pounds. But numerous people have now said with the Cybertruck, when they're towing, they don't even feel any difference. At that weight, you can't even tell. There's so much power and performance and so much torque, you can't even tell. I think this is kind of a good point. I mean, if you look at the torque of, say, the average diesel-powered pickup truck, very common here in Australia, commonly sold in Thailand, or commonly sold all around the world, they have about 500 newton meters of torque. Now, I know you guys have V8s. You have like the Silverado that has about 650 newton meters of torque. The Ford F150, I think the twin turbo 3.5 litre 6-cylinder has around about 700 newton meters of torque. But the Cybertruck has a lot more than that. It has about double that. In fact, a bit more than double that torque. You can see why towing with the Cybertruck would feel completely effortless. Now, Andy said his Ford F350 has a hell of a lot of horsepower and a hell of a lot of torque, and it does. However, he said it could never accelerate like a Cybertruck, not even close. And he said he was surprised to say that he didn't feel anything at all when he was towing with a Cybertruck. He didn't even feel like he was towing anything. Could be slightly dangerous. You feel like the car just feels like there's nothing behind you, but actually there is. But I think that's a pretty cool feature, because one of the things I think is quite dangerous, we don't really factor this in, is that a lot of people who are towing big loads, they go up a hill, and all of a sudden, they're on a freeway, the top speed limit is what, 70 miles an hour, 110 kilometers an hour. What happens? You come around a corner, and bang, there's someone right in front of you, they're doing 20 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, 50 kilometers an hour, and you got to slam your brakes on pretty fast, or hope that you can overtake. If you can't, well, who knows what's going to happen. That's something I think we don't talk about enough. Now, interestingly, Ryan Shaw, who has obviously a Tesla channel, he actually was driving in the dunes with a Cybertruck, and it seemed to handle it incredibly well. The Cybertruck began its acceleration heading toward a huge sand dune hill and began to drive on the lower parts of it to get a feel for, driving off-road. That's what you do. That's what I've done with in the past. When you first drive on sand, you're like, oh, should I do this? And you just sort of get used to it. The handling was really, really good. The driver said the Cybertruck wasn't his, and he thanked the owner for allowing him to drive it. And he said that if it had been his, he would have driven it a little bit more aggressively in the sand dunes. But either way, the key point here was this. He said it towed just as well as his Ford F350. Now, what kind of range are you going to get with a Cybertruck when you're towing? Well, that's really like how long is a piece of string? No one can possibly give you an answer to that question because it depends on the weight. It depends on the aerodynamics. It depends if you've got a headwind, if you've got a tailwind, if there's no wind, if you've got a crosswind, how strong is that crosswind, how high is your trailer, how heavy is your trailer, how many axles has it got, how many wheels are there, what's the actual tire pressure of each tire. There's so many variables. How big are the wheels on the trailer? So there's just too many variables. If anyone gives you a definitive answer, then it's kind of like, well, maybe for that specific size vehicle with all those different parameters baked in, but it's almost impossible to really give you a defining answer. But I can say this, the Cybertruck tows no problem. If you need to tow a long way, probably not a great solution at this point in time. Now, there will be more and more chargers, and this will become a good solution, but at this point in time, if you're towing heavy loads all the time, it's probably still not quite the perfect answer. If you're towing heavy loads, say once a week, absolutely, it's more than capable. Let me know what you think though. Do you think EVs are capable towing vehicles? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.